Hi there, I'm Laurence Tham from LaurenceTham.com. Now, the biggest challenge right now we're facing in practice across the world is about how do we reopen or how do we get back to some sort of normality. And whether you're in Australia, UK, or the US, a couple of key elements is that obviously we're all in different places and different countries going to have different issues. So a couple of key things you need to consider and remember, right? That this is not the challenge is not an on-off switch. Like, it's not going to just switch on and off. What happens is that we need to kind of do this sequentially. And so here's the sequence I want to talk to you about. So the challenge, of course, is that what we're trying to do is we want to reopen our doors. And I mean by reopen, and obviously in Australia, you haven't shut your doors, but it's about how do I get back to some sort of normality, how to get back to the same numbers as I was doing prior to all of this COVID stuff. And the impact, the reason why you're thinking about it is because you're thinking, the question that leads you to this point is like, the fear at least is like, will they come back? Will my patients come back? Who's going to come back first? Like, who's going to actually be coming back to the practice? What if they say no to you, right? What if they say, I don't want to come back yet? And how do I do this in a way that I'm not going to eliminate all my clients? And so that's the challenge you're actually going through. And the problem is that the impact of this, of not opening the doors in an appropriate manner, of course, is that it leads to a practice that it's going to be in a stall state. And more importantly, you're going to have to feel like it's going to feel like a grind, because it's going to feel like you're starting from zero if you don't do it in the right manner. So what I want to talk to you through in this video is I want to go through a couple of key elements that you want to consider. Now, remember what I just said before is that this is not an on-off switch scenario. Like, you don't just kind of just switch it on and off and everything will go back to normal. It's not like the government's going to say, hey, here you go, you're ready to go, and everything will go back to normal. No, I think what you need to see it as is almost like a dial, and a dial that turns slowly over time. It's going to slowly transition to slowly and then move it into a bigger model, sort of more like this. And so that's the challenge that you're going through right now, is that you have to think of yourself as a dial and it'll ramp up along the way. And so that's what you want to consider. So if you have it under the mindset is on-off switch is not the case, most likely you're going to have to be done in sort of 3 stages, okay? And so what I would love to consider is that I need you to think about this is, how do you think of this through? Well, you need to think about it's almost like this model and how technology is being embraced by people and by the population in general. I'm sure you've seen this inverse U graph before, but what typically happens is that the first type of people that embrace any technology is the innovators, right? The innovators are always the one who embrace the technology. Those are the people who love to get onto technology. They already know technology that's coming without you even knowing it's even on the market. Like, they're the ones, the first ones to buy. The second types of groups of people, where some of you are, is the early adopters. And the early adopters are really important because they are the ones who will kind of line up ready to buy. They're so excited. They're the ones who line up at the front door for a couple of days before the item goes on sale. Those are the types of people that are really good for in this environment. I'll explain to you in a second why that is the case. That's the third group of people, which is a lot of the majority. This middle part is where the majority of our clients are going to be. And what you need to identify is that there's an early majority, right? But there also is a late majority. And you need to identify who they are, because it matters. And the last one, is that obviously there are laggards. Laggards are people that are just going to take their time. Laggards, typically in the technology world, they're still probably using a CD player right now. So their takes a long time. They're not on Facebook because they just got onto Facebook just now. So if you think about from this perspective, is that we can kind of deal with this from a rollout on the sequence of how you can start to open your doors and who do you open up to. And if you do this right, you can actually use this as a strategy on how to deploy your marketing, how you deploy your conversation, how you deploy the team and your resources and energy to focus on the right people. Because what you don't want to do is alienate people. You don't want to open your doors in a way that alienates people who think you should be shut, which is the late majority. So what we got to do it in 3 stages. And this is stage 1, stage 2, and stage 3. And the stage 1 is our people are the early adopters. These are the people who are the innovators and the early adopters who really didn't see a problem you being open in this whole during the period of time. Now, if you're in Australia, because you didn't close, these are the people people that are already in your practice right now. They're still getting adjusted because they believe in what you do. They know that they need their adjustments and they're already there. So, but for people in the United Kingdom and Europe and also in the United States and Canada, where your doors are closed, these are the people that are vying in the door, ready to pound on your door to come back. They're the ones who are like, can you open so that you can start seeing me? Well, the types of people in this case, I think that if you segment these market, is that if you really think about it, is that most likely these are the people who are your acutes. Right? People who are in need, people who just got into a car accident, people who are, desperate, who need help right now because they're in acute pain. So those are, and if you have that type of practice, these are the people who need to be seen right now. There's also your chronics, right? The people who are consistently in chronic problems, then they need your help. So these are the people you can actually call on and contact them because you know who they are within your existing clients. The third, I believe, is your VIPs with problems. Because sometimes the VIPs, although they are VIPs, but they might be more in category 2, not in category 1. But the people who are VIPs with problems, because you've been consulting with them, because that's one of the suggestions I've already made, is that if you constantly been doing virtual consults through this period of time, these people with problems, you can actually get them in. Because say, we're open for a limited amount of time for these people who desperately need us. And this will please group number 3 because you're really doing it for those people who really need you right now. But because right now in group number 3, they're still worried. And we do need to consider them because they are in your practice. Whether you believe it's a problem or not, it's not the point. They believe it, and we need to kind of manage them, because what you don't want to do is alienate that group of your clients, which is probably 30% of them, and that could be detrimental for you long term. Because everybody has their own opinion around what they feel about this, and we need to respect it. And stage 2 group of people, which is the early majority, they're the people on the fence, and what we need to do is kind of respect where they are at that within the fence, and how do I manage the conversations that they're having in their mind, and how do I navigate through that. So the simple conversation here is simply about thinking about talking to them and finding out exactly where they are on the situation, what's stopping them from coming to in the first place. So if you think about this, is that if you can find out what's stopping them from coming in, then you're going to be able to help navigate through some of those concerns. Because if you know what's stopping them, then you can actually just tell them. For example, if someone doesn't want to come in and meet other people, well, you can offer them to be the first appointment of the day, the last appointment of the day, or maybe during lunchtime when there's no one there. But if you don't know that context, if you don't get on the phone and actually have these conversations, these people on the fence won't tip over to where you want them to be. And so that's really important for you to think about. The third group of people, obviously, are the late majority. They're going to take their time. These people, you need to respect where their positions are at. They need to respect that they're probably going to be waiting for the government to lift any problems or lift any things, restrictions before they even come in. Now, what can you do for those people? Well, I think you can offer them virtual consult still. You need to continually to not ignore them, because oftentimes we're going to focus so much on these people, and these people, we're going to forget about these people. And we don't want to do that. What you want to do is because if you don't want to start from like a 50% going back up, what you want to do is still connect with them. Get your CAs to talk to them and connect with them on a continual basis. Why is that so important? Well, they need to hear from you, because what you really need to consider here is this. Those people here need empathy. Right? They need to have empathy. You need to provide them. They need to connect. You need to connect with them at that level. That's what they need from you, right? Where the second group of people right now is that they really need to let's go with step 1 first, because step 1 people, they're knocking on your door. So really, you just need to kind of tell them exactly what to do, right? You just need to direct them. They just need some direction and go, okay, what are some of the things? How do I book an appointment? That's all you really need. Where stage 2 people, they're on the fence, right? So what you need to do is help them decide, right? Help them decide, help them make a decision. Now, if they choose not to come in, despite the protocols, the PPE you've done, the protocols, you're cleaning up the tables, all the stuff, despite all of that, they still scared, respect it. Respect it for them by contacting them. That's fine. We'll contact you next week. Let's help you manage through the problem that you might be having right now and still take care of them. If you do this in stage 1, 2, and 3 over time, you're going to be able to manage these people a lot better. And what happens then is that you're not going to have this situation where you're starting from 0 to get back to the normal. What you want to do is slowly integrate this process and help them manage each step across the way. And I guarantee you, your practice will be much better off long term if you do this strategically and you can put the right energy of your team and your efforts and your strategy and your education in the right areas and divvy it up accordingly, and making sure that you don't forget the people at the tail end, but also remember the people that are coming into seeing you right now. So if you do this properly, I guarantee your practice will be much better off. So I'm Laurence Tham from laurencetam.com. Hope this video has been helpful. If it has, please give me a thumbs up or give me a comment to let me know what was the best part about this video. And please share this with other people, and let's make this profession even stronger and better after this. Thanks for watching this video. If you haven't already done so, that subscribe button, you should press it. And because I want to share videos with you just like this one to help you grow your practice.